So today is our first day piloting a loose parts adventure playground here at Meadowlands. We started with our classes who have been to forest school before.
The learning objectives of loose parts play, I think, is just to let the students go and see what they do. It's a type of experiential learning where we're not really imposing like how they're supposed to use the loose parts or what they're going to get out of it. We're just kind of stepping back.
They're way too big.
We're there as facilitators. We're not there telling them how to use a board, how to use a cardboard box, how to use a log. Just kind of standing back and seeing what they do with it.
One of the things that we were thinking about when we looked at the pop-up adventure playground or forest school is trying to find a way that we can introduce some risk-taking in our students in our playground. We know that when students feel free to take risks in a playground, then they're going to feel free to take risks in other areas as well.
It was interesting at the beginning of the play was quite concentrated in one area, and then as the morning progressed, the play spread out across the yard. And so they were really using every corner of the yard throughout the morning. They were congregating together and building larger projects together. So there was a ship that was being built, there was a fort, there was one area where students were racing small blocks down a cardboard ramp, and the whole fort was attached with string around it. It was really interesting to see how the play evolved from playing 2 by 2 to playing in larger groups, and the buildings and the play both became more complicated, sort of at the same time. Then at recess, we invited the entire school to come and join in the Loose Parts Adventure Playground, and we noticed similar things. The play started close together, the students were working in twos, and by the end of recess, they had spread out around the yard, and they had congregated into groups as well, and their play and structures became more complicated as well.
Inside the classroom, we're always starting with the curriculum and planning activities. When we come out here, we put out some provocations, we put out some different types of objects, and then we kind of stand back. We watch how the students are using them, and then I feel like we go back to the curriculum and say, hey, wow, look, they did this part in math, they did this part in language, they did this part in science.
Well, even the social skills that the students are developing, they're learning to work together. You know, when they were building the house, for example, they had to negotiate who was going to be part of the family, who was going to play which role.
Hey, you! Get in bed now! This is my bed!
They were also working on problem-solving skills. You know, we saw students trying to figure out how they're going to order a pizza for their family party. Well, of course, they needed a cell phone and an iPad to do that. And we also saw them working on their physical, the body side, the building the house, lifting the logs, lifting the planks into place. So this really relates to the OCDSB framework for student well-being, where we're talking about educating the whole child, socio-emotional, cognitive, and physical. So I see that more as heart, mind, and body.
Our real goal for the pop-up adventure playground was to make some of our learnings come to all the schools across Ottawa and maybe across Canada. If we can develop a template for having loose parts brought to playgrounds and have kids engage in more controlled environment like a schoolyard and develop some resilience, then we think that's going to translate into other areas as well.